Welcome, everybody. We've got to wait a couple more minutes for our special guests to arrive. They're coming by there's a big limousine out there, and it's stuck in LA traffic. So we're gonna BS here. Anyway, thank you for coming. This is the really special live for us because we are going to go over Mosquito Head, the history, the beginning, the goings on, the end, and the mystery and the glory and the greatness of Mosquito Head T-shirts. That was probably one of the first collectible T-shirts that really broke the $1,000 barrier about 10 years ago or so. Yeah, and I mean, and still there's a few of them that drive that price, but. This was something I really wanted to do because I knew the fellows from the owner, the guy who started it, or the guys who started it, and one of the main guys, two of the main guys, or whatever. So I really wanted to bring this out to the T-shirt community to talk about the Mosquito Head brand because I knew the guys that did it. And I knew how that it wasn't just a brand, it was individuals behind it, and these designs just didn't come out of just some licensing agreement with some music executive. These designs came from artists, people that thought of things, that wanted to express something, that not only of design, but a lot of the Mosquito Head stuff, obviously you could tell, comes from music and from culture, and it's from their love, the people from Mosquito Head who loved music and underground culture, and all the icons that surround that. So that's why I wanted to bring this out to you, to show you that all these T-shirts that we love, whether we go back to what was their first T-shirts that started getting big? I mean, the rap T-shirts. I mean, there are artists behind there, even though it was some guy bootlegging in the back of his house to sell on the street, in downtown LA or something. These are artists. These are people that put those designs together. And whether they're doing it in 5 minutes or 5 hours or 5 days to put those designs together, these are artists and real people. And we now, okay, everybody.
What's up, fellas?
All right. So we are now live with Robert.
Yes.
Say hello, Robert, to everybody.
Hi, everyone. How's it going?
Okay, that is Robert. And now, you got out of the limousine, you're out of the LA traffic. You got all the
I got off my bicycle.
So, everybody, this is Robert, who is the founder of Mosquito Head T-shirts. Now, the lore and love of your Mosquito Head T-shirts has been around for quite some time, 10, 15 years. And I was talking to everybody earlier how I wanted to bring this out to show everybody because I knew you guys. First of all, let me introduce us. I'm Richard. I'm the owner of METROPOLIS Vintage here in New York City. And over here is...
Fresh Kills Vintage. My name is Peter. I run the Fresh Kills Vintage page, and
that guy down there is Josh. He's part of a group of T-shirt people that we call
the East Coast Connection.
Yes.
Okay, explain what the East Coast Connection is.
So the East Coast Connection, for anyone that hasn't been keeping up with us, we get together every few weeks, and we kind of really our main goal is to not so much focus on sales and things like that, but really focus on connecting with people, hearing their stories, hearing their backgrounds and where they've come from, and what they're doing now. So tonight is super special and important for everyone. If you're a seller, you should hear this. You should hear this story. You should know about it. If you're a collector, you should know about it, and you should definitely be tapping into this. There's a lot of questions that people have that haven't been answered, and that's why this East Coast Connection tonight is super important because it is the Mosquito Head story on East Coast Connection Volume 7, and that's what it is.
Well said. Well said, Pete.
So I guess a lot of people know us. They know METROPOLIS Vintage. I've been around since 1990. Well, I've been around longer than that, but that's when I started to have a store. But for all you T-shirt guys out there, you're going to learn a lot about T-shirts. Don't just come from the air. I come from a graphic design background, and behind every great T-shirt is a person and a company and ideas and designers. And that's why I want to, that's why this is really special for us. And that's why these t-shirts really lasted the test of time, because they were great art. And that's what we want to bring you. So everybody, enough with the BS of us. Let's, we want to talk to this fellow over there. His name is Robert, and he is the founder of Mosquito Head T-shirts. So Robert, can you introduce everybody to yourself and your story, and get right into how did Mosquito Head T-shirts start? What was the beginning? And then we have a special guest.
We also have a special guest on our end as well.
Okay. I just wanted to say, I didn't start it on my own. I had a business partner originally, Paul. He passed away a couple of years ago. But I owe him props. We were equal partners, and that was a sad loss for me.
Oh, okay.
But we were both like-minded, very different people. But we really started because there was just a massive gap in the market, especially like rock merchandise or counterculture shows. Like rock bands, licensed ones would just literally be a album cover, just plonked onto a shirt. Just no concept of context or anything. It would just literally be, sometimes they'd be well produced. It'd be like 12 colors, but there'd be no thought of the culture of the band or anything like that. And
what year was that? What year?
Well, first off, I was studying again. I'm not really very organized. I don't have notes. It's kind of organic flowing. I started off like I was working in a record store, Bleecker Bob's. And
so what is Bleecker Bob's?
Yeah.
Famous Bleecker Bob's.
And then I was.
Okay, you're telling me that.
At that time, I was buying a lot of the merch, the T-shirts and things, and so I was dealing with a lot of the kind of small companies that were making stuff, and then big companies, and I was, also importing
So
shirts.
you were working in a record store as an employee, and then you wanted to start a T-shirt company?
Not really. Bleecker Bob wanted to open a store out here in LA, and he didn't want to do the merch himself. So he said, why don't you just come out and be my business partner? You'll rent the back half of the business and do T-shirts. Yeah, and I'll just do records at the front. I'm like, okay, you have to be crazy, Bob, because records make no money and merch, that's where the money is. Why would you do that? But, he was a music fan, he didn't really
I know him very
merch.
well.
Yeah, so, he came out here, and I think for the first year we just sold exclusively in our own store, and it sucked.
And so that
was 86. 86, and it was on Melrose in
86 in Melrose. So that's the start of Mosquito Head T-shirts.
Yeah.
1986 in Melrose.
So we would just have other buyers from other stores coming and say, "Oh, these are great. Where can I get them?"
Oh, really?
And then just be in our store selling like one a day. So we were just like, after a year, we're just like, "Fuck the store. We're just gonna, do wholesale." It just took off fast, and then we did our first boutique show. And within a year, we were just selling lots and lots of them.
Oh, okay.
Especially considering we weren't really selling to chains, or there weren't really any chains interested in anything counterculture back then.
And when you started, what were the designs that you started with? Was it the all-over design of this?
I did a few designs, and I started also with a guy, Chris Savage, who was in New York. I was working with him.
Oh, Savage! Oh,
yeah, you must probably know him.
Another name I know.
Yeah, so he just did literally, plain rock, and it's mainly on black shirts, like white ink on black shirts. Just, they'd be kind of big, like 12 by 20 maybe, or 16 by 20.
So you were working with Savage in New York?
Yeah, and he kind of, he taught me a lot. And, he wasn't good on customer service or like
but we have a lot of. We'll do a separate.
But anyway, he basically taught me, some things, and when I moved here, I just, was on my own with my business partner, and we just went with the flow.
When, where, how, and why did you think of the name Mosquito Head for your company?
We used to just be Mosquito when we first started, but there was another company with as with that name who made like children's activewear. And they were nice about it. They just said, hey, we've been around 30 years and you've got the same name. Can you please change it? We don't want to have to go to court or anything. So we were like, oh, okay. And then we'd been around long enough that we didn't want to come up with a completely new name. That it was just like, yeah, Mosquito Head will do.
Oh,
it wasn't, again, it wasn't designed, it wasn't made to mean anything.
I love all that.
We like the idea of mosquito because it seemed like somewhat of a predatory, parasitic bug. But, just adding the word head to it didn't really... In fact, to be honest, I kind of dislike that name.
Were you guys the partners? Were you punks?
I would say...
You were more like a rock guy.
Both, I was a punk.
Oh, they were goth guys.
Yeah, I was like when I was 16, but then, it kind of jizzled. But that's my heritage. I was into definitely more energetic music, rockabilly, punk.
I kind of want to ask too, what was your staple, fashion, accessory or pieces that you were wearing back then? When you were making Mosquito Heads, what were you wearing? What was a normal fit for?
To be honest, at the time I was just wearing black skinny jeans and a black t-shirt and Converse, pretty much. Yeah, so
he's wearing the same thing right now, pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I think now is a very good time to bring our very special guest in. And this was the first employee of Mosquito Head. And this is Richard, who's a big friend of mine. I'm Richard also. And so come on in, Richard.
Rich and Rich.
This is Rich and Richard.
Robert.
Who the fuck's that guy?
Robert, this is
Never seen him before in my life.
Robert, this is your life. Right. How many ex-wives do you have? There's a line out there.
I only have one ex-wife. So.
Oh, okay. Well, she's waiting, so we'll get to her later. So Richard, could you explain to me how you met and started to work together, and so I guess you came in around the same time that this famous Mosquito Head Prince came in?
I think it was, we were in a basement at the time when it first started. It was a basement, and I met Robert at a mutual friend's house, and basically I'm like, I need a job. He's like, I'll give you a job, and I started printing for however many years that was until I
we got you bleaching shirts at first, right?
That's true. It started out with the bleaching, and it was that, and then printing, and I remember at one point you were still doing white on black, and you left me to do that because I seemed to be better at it. I wouldn't let it ghost or anything.
Yeah.
And and then I wound up somehow I had a little office in charge of rolls of quarters, if I remember correctly.
That was yeah.
And it was Robert and Paul. And
how many years were you there?
How many years was I there?
It's hard to tell, because I don't think you worked for us that long, did you?
No, 3. Well, I left and came back, and then, I bounced around a bit. But it's funny, because when I see some of your stuff online, I'm like, oh, I was there for that. I wasn't there for that,
Okay, cool. So can you get into the fact, who came up with the all-over design? Now, obviously, the most famous of the Mosquito Heads are the bleach prints, correct?
Yeah.
And can you explain that process and the whole thing about going about making that famous Mosquito Head T-shirt?
Yeah, it came out kind of not as a design aesthetic. It came about really as the limitations of what I could do. Starting out as, basically screening in my bathroom. I didn't have a lot of colors. I had to use water-based inks because I didn't have a dryer, so I'd have to hang dryer them. And I really like
DIY.
Yeah, so I really wanted to print on dark shirts. And at that time, the only real, a good shirt that would last was water-based. And you couldn't print water-based on black. So the bleaching made a way in which you could easily print water-based on black. You just bleach out a front part. And I actually kind of snagged that idea from, I think it was Boy of London. I bought a t-shirt from, and they had a little werewolf shirt, which was the print was yay big, just on the front, and it was Lon Chaney, and they'd just done a little bleach spot in the middle.
Wow, and I never imagined Boy of London being like that kind of style, but I guess...
No, it was completely, I completely extracted it
But
Am I
that's the
talking
good
too
thing
loud?
about
No,
design. You
it's
can
great.
take
Yeah.
an idea and
Yeah.
really, like you said, extract it or stretch it or do something else with it and really come
Yeah.
up with something fascinating.
Yeah, because then I just thought, well, looking the small one, it was kind of a crap T-shirt. It really wasn't going to be anything anyone's going to go wow about. But as a printer, it intrigued me. Like, how did he do this? And it was only when I like ordered some for the store that I could see the edge of the print where it didn't match the shirt. And I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. He's treated the shirt and then put the little tiny print on it. And then I
And
just
as
figured,
far as coming up with designs, how did you come up with designs? You said you had a partner, or did you hire designers, or was Richard telling you everything?
No.
I would say, myself and my partner theoretically designed everything, but it was people like Richard. Everyone there was kind of in the culture. It was
Like-minded.
yeah, and it's just good. But people bringing in, we're all hipsters at the time, people bringing in different tastes, different music. It fed our design aesthetic rather than just having a bunch of workers who had no contact with.
So, but it really was like music. That was the basis of the company. You got to say.
All counterculture, yeah. We were into things that, maybe even, like Hunter S. Thompson ones or Clockwork Orange, William S. Burroughs,
We used to always, and we hung out,
Yeah.
at work, and we'd go to shows, so we all were friends,
But you also, Richard, you're a writer, so that kind of culture, counterculture, was kind of very important to you guys.
I
right?
started writing like 10 years ago, or 15 years ago.
But this kind of like William Burroughs, who would you ever think of? Musician. I mean,
Yeah, I
back
think
in the Led Zeppelin days, nobody was reading.
But they should have been.
They should have been. But
Yeah.
it came that kind of culture, whether it's Fear and Loathing, which was around for a long time, but it all kind of blended into the music too.
There's another factor is they're both British. It's like I remember I took a road trip once across the country with a guy who was British, and I saw America through his eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, would you say that's fair?
Yeah, you can't deny your past.
Well, no, I just mean like
But,
it's a different take on it.
Yeah.
But it was a punk aesthetic.
Yeah, I would say
You knew it at the time too, right?
it was like, and you look at it, it's like a hybrid. It's like punk, goth, but there's definitely a lot of psychedelia in there.
Yeah, I just wanted to come in and say, like, I think punk rock, I almost don't ever think of a Mosquitohead. Very colorful, very, very loud. When I think of punk, it's like, it was almost like the opposite of punk, but it was led by punk, which is kind of blowing my mind now listening to the story.
Yeah.
That these colors, you don't, the vibrant, loud colors, I don't think
Well, the
punk
colors
was.
are definitely not punk.
Yeah.
But the DIY,
Yes.
like the flyers for the shows, the music shows, so like cutting up and pasting
Yeah,
down,
yeah,
and that
exactly,
DIY and that kind of folk aesthetic was, very much a part of you. Hey, can you tell me when did Mosquitohead really take off? And also, I'll have a little more detailed questions about the all over designs, but what year did Mosquitohead really take off?
So I guess we started in '86. I think I must have really hired Richard. Was it like late '86?
Yeah.
And I think we still had the store then. So then it wasn't taking off. We were just kind of struggling to get by. But it was
You were doing
really
it in the basement, right?
Yeah, it was. Actually, we started doing it in our before we worked in Whitley. We're doing it in our own place.
Do you have the
Wilcox.
address on Melrose?
No, it's.
Google it. I found it. I don't know.
It was
Or
by.
where in Melrose was it?
I think it was like Fuller and Gardner near there.
Okay.
Yeah, Matt and Jerry
Stanley.
worked there.
Stanley was across the street, I think.
Wait, did you work there when Matt and Jerry worked there?
Yeah, that's how I met them. Yeah.
That's how you met them. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that was another two friends who worked for us who in a band of Miracle Workers.
Miracle Workers.
Yeah, they
Good
were
band.
they were a really cool band that
They were great.
didn't get kind of notification that they deserved.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were cool. And I really liked those guys. Yeah. I'd say those two and Richard. Those are really.
Did
fun
you ever make
memories.
band T-shirts?
Yeah, because we knew everyone who worked for us was in a band,
Was
so
in a
we
band.
frequently made, shirts for those people. And I made them for Jack Black when Tenacious D first started. I remember doing
Really?
those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In this type of style?
No, it was just
Oh.
like this. It was his own design. It was just like Tenacious D. And, you know.
Okay, so when did things go like gazoom? Because I remember you guys got pretty big.
Yeah, I would say after the first boutique show, maybe it took a year for it to percolate through to get massive. So it had to be like 1989.
Yeah.
I remember we were living in LA, and I remember going to the East Village in the summer once, and it's just like,
Yes.
shit, everyone's wearing all my shirts.
I remember that.
I'm like, whoa,
It's
I
funny
should be
because
rich. Why am I poor?
you know, it's funny, the mailing list, I remember how it grew, because to this day, if I think of a town, I can tell you, like, you know, like
There was a store, two stores in every town that sold
like
Christy
like
shirts.
Wax Track, Chicago, or Alley Cat. I don't remember where it was, but it was somewhere, you know.
Yeah.
And was there a catalog, like a paper catalog?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
We had like a
that's
glossy
all
one.
it
So
tells. Everybody, listen to that. Put your searches in. eBay.
yeah, I might even
Mosquito Head
actually,
paper catalog.
I think I might have one hidden somewhere, but I know it seems crazy to maybe listeners, but there was a stage like 5 years later where I couldn't get rid of those. They just died. It was just like,
There you
and
go.
I think, and then suddenly prints were teeny tiny. I think there was a company, Serial Killer, that was doing
Or
like
East Coast
transfer prints. Yeah, they were just tiny. Yeah.
Wow. So it was the first boutique show, late '89. I remember first seeing you in the early '90s at the boutique show.
Yeah. So I
And
think we
seeing
did
that whole wall
yeah.
of these T-shirts lined up, and I guess every order was a special order, like so everything was made to order.
No, we
You had inventory.
I guess the good thing is that both Paul and myself, we kind of like were fairly good at, we didn't have any business training, but just, you know, logistics. And the fact that I'd worked in a record store selling merch, I understood the kind of, you know, the pressures on a seller. They order a shirt, they don't want to have to wait 6 months for it, especially if it's something kind of
They want it
trendy.
right away.
Yeah, so I kind of, we just figured out having a small enough amount of stock that we could kind of keep replenishing it and keep everyone happy.
And how much were the prices? Like, what was do you remember what your wholesale prices were?
I think it was somewhere like, it sounds cheap now, but it was like $5.56.
$5.56.
Was it really?
I don't know. Do you remember? I know they ended up being like, by the time the
I
big
think they
prints
went for like
stopped,
15
12.
or 10
Yeah.
here, but this is New York, so you can, you know.
That was retail.
retail.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So
Well,
wholesale,
that
I
makes
think it was-
sense. Not $6.
Well, it's
It was
funny
like,
because I actually remember when you guys the company started growing, like you were worried about if you had enough just to buy the case.
Yeah.
And then by the time you know it was at the other shop, the UPS truck was coming in with nothing but T-shirts.
yeah,
Remember?
yeah,
You had to walk up those stairs.
Oh,
yeah.
I have a good question. You know, everybody knows that it's very easy to tell an authentic Mosquito Head if you look at that tag, which is the Hanes Heavyweight, correct? What made you decide to use those Hanes Heavyweight? Was there anything particular, or was it just the cheapest T-shirt you could pick up?
It wasn't just cheap. It was a good one. Like the cotton was nice, but it's also the reaction to bleaching.
Yeah.
Literally, when we first started, we just used off the shelf like Clorox.
Because it was beefy tees.
Yeah.
Or
And-
Stedman.
Yeah, but Hanes used a certain dye that just bleached it out to like a nice bone color. Whereas I know some other companies would do it come out really orange or some even red. But Hanes just, you know, I guess it was a specific reactive dye they used that.
Wow. So
Just-
so Hanes wasn't just the cheapest shirt; it was the best shirt for you guys.
Yeah, and also weirdly enough, even bleaches, different brand bleaches would kind of come out differently.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So
And
you know,
can you get into specifics? Like, do you remember what T-shirt design of the all-over prints was your best seller?
I would imagine Bob Marley would have been one of the best sellers, maybe just because it might not. I don't think it was the best design, but it just had the most overall appeal, and specifically for that look.
And
You know, had maybe, you know, because reggae appeals to a lot of different people, especially then. So But we get that was when we started getting Ma and Pa stores, ordering it and rather than hipster stores.
So everything. So your main customers were like young kids basically, or all the little stores like this, like the little St. Mark stores are not there anymore.
Yeah, that's how it started out. But then as soon as I guess doing Bob Marley and more commercial things, it exploded. So it was.
Wow.
It was.
And after Bob Marley, was it like David Bowie or something like that?
To be honest, the David Bowie one is one of my favorite designs, but
Great one.
And
I don't think. Yeah, Clockwork Orange, I think, is one of the best sellers.
That's a big one.
And I don't seem to see many of those around. Do you? Do you have one?
No.
There you go. Here's one.
Oh yeah. Let's have a look. Put it.
Yeah.
I like that. I never
Don't break his
noticed that.
heart.
I never noticed that guy in the front.
Oh yeah.
How did he sneak in there?
Yeah, Kubrick.
He's a New Yorker. Hey,
Yeah,
maybe he
yeah.
could join our group.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta get him.
That's Stanley Kubrick, the director of Clockwork Orange, who is from the Bronx. And
Yeah, and I think Richard printed that one. It's fucked up at the front.
that's right.
That was the day you wore a blindfold to work.
Came in hungover that day.
Everyone came in hungover.
These were the best, James Dean, and this one, because with a hangover, you could get one run going,
Yeah.
I was
The
telling him
single
early.
color ones. Yeah,
I was telling him earlier the hardest one was the Marley, and it happened to be the best seller. So
yeah, and Jimi Hendrix too.
yeah, because we didn't have like a station when. I mean, eventually you got one.
Yeah. But even so, without those, because those ones we use split screens. So
Yeah.
we could only use 4 screens. So we split like red and yellow and blue and red. So
Getting
that
into
way
the process, everything was hand done. Like there was one gigantic screen, and you would pull it, then dry it, then another screen. You kind of do it by hand.
No, we printed screen after screen.
So you had
Before-
the big machine going around.
We didn't at the beginning. We kind of like just made a method, which I think Chris Savage taught me was,
Yeah.
just having like
Blocking.
a palette, and you had
Yeah.
like a
Right.
registration block. It
Right.
was really registration at its very most basic levels.
Yeah.
So-
But for these, it didn't need to be anything else.
Yeah, I think though for the Jimi Hendrix, for the ones that were really colorful, I don't think we could have done it that way without getting a lot of ghosting and messing.
Any idea? I know this is a tough question to answer, but do you have any idea of how many of these all-over prints you guys must have printed?
Give me a sec. Let me think. I'm just trying to think.
Just a rough number. I mean, everybody in this business, T-shirt business, loves numbers. So if you can give us a number, we can extrapolate on it a little bit.
I don't know. It supported like about 20 people for 10 years. Those,
Yeah.
So this is
those
hundreds of thousands of shirts, basically.
Yeah, and
And-
especially
And that's why, even though people got rid of their stuff, there's still listen, somebody just last week was offering me to buy a beautiful condition Hendrix one. I mean, they didn't come up with a price yet, but they found a beautiful one. That's why there's so many of them, because they lasted and you sold them because they were great designs. And
yeah, that Hendrix one I think is the company's maybe most colorful, most
that is
established
a great
design.
one. That is a great one.
And that was Paul designed that one. Yeah,
Is that Paul?
designer. Yeah, that was Paul. He designed that one.
So I actually have a question because there's like a rumor going around that the tees that were made for In Living Color were only given to the audience. Is that true or false?
Oh, yeah, that's false. We sold those. That would be later stage Mosquito Head. Those were maybe when it wasn't selling so much to rock and roll, but we'd established the more middle America market with Bob Marley and Hendrix.
Cool.
And
So,
what year was your best year?
to be honest, my best
No,
year
your whole company as a company.
as a company, it was most probably later. Most probably Mosquito Head didn't reach. It was when I did the Glam Head label later. Remember, Richie was saying you bought those. That was the girls' shirts. Yeah, some of those.
Yeah. To tell you honestly, everybody, when I first saw these, I thought in the early 90s, I have to look for really, this had a very punk aesthetic.
Yeah.
And what I was looking for was something for young girls, and it really didn't match for young girls.
No.
But you had those baby dolls, remember the small ones you had? The nice
Yeah, and I'd use like a lot of sometimes glittery ink or.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Those
those.
are the ones that sold for me. It sold great, and then obviously the Glam Head was
Yeah, and they're
actually
not
that
collectible
period
at all,
of
are
time-
they?
That Glam Head period of time when I got established as being a very music-oriented place, because
Yeah.
I was selling a lot of new stuff and a lot of music stuff, and then that transferred into the vintage when the period when the licensed music stuff went down,
Hmm.
the vintage stuff went up.
You're on Avenue.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's Avenue B was when I was first ordering Mosquito Head, but I did order a lot on Third Avenue too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Especially the Glam Head. Those are beautiful designs. If anybody can get a hold of them, I don't think price-wise they go up there, but you know they
Yeah,
are great shirts. I
I
mean,
didn't know
they're
that.
great
I
sellers.
don't even know what a glam shirt is.
They were very rock and roll.
It
It
was
was,
another line of It was another name. It was another line of T-shirts that Robert made under the
So in-
Mosquito Head brand.
yeah, so that was,
Prices going up right now. Everyone's on the keyboard
Everybody,
saying eBay
write
right
that down. How do you
And
spell
to-
that?
to-
GLAMHEAD.
yeah, and to be honest, I think, I'd matured as a designer,
Well, you had to change.
and also, a lot of the Mosquito Head early designs, the big bleach ones, there wasn't
Really?
Photoshop back then, they were done by hand, all the designs,
Yeah.
whereas the Glam Head,
You can make more money, profit.
or it was just easier to do on a computer, because some of those, the massive ones, I could afford to get one film made that would cost like $100 or so, and then the other films I'd cut with Ruby Lith and whatever, and it would just be like, one shirt would take me like 40 hours, literally man hours to manufacture.
Robert, could you tell me, I mean, I know there's a lot of people out there who just started their businesses. Obviously, I've been in business a while. You went through your ups and, you went through the downs.
Yeah,
And everybody,
yeah.
every business goes through that.
Yeah.
They have their ups and they have their downs. And can you tell us about, you started as just like, I guess, for lack of a better terminology, just bootlegging in the back of a store.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, and I didn't even
And then-
know the terminology bootlegging really, so.
Yeah.
Didn't even
Well,
know that.
whatever that
Yeah,
is.
Yeah.
But you started making shirts like on a small scale, and you got very big. I remember you guys. You had big booths, not just
Yeah.
little booths, big booths at all these trade shows. Can you tell us about that? Like from going to small to this like bigger T-shirt company, and what were the struggles you had to go through and the triumphs?
It was the problem with getting things licensed is it's a very, and maybe more so now, it's worse. It's a very commercial, and a lot of times people who are in business don't see the merit of something that's visually pleasing or visually, different from the rest. And just when I first went from that kind of bootleg guy to trying to getting licensed, some people I met really loved it. And then other people more corporate would be like, why do we want you? We'll just do the design ourselves.
Terrible.
And you can see there was I was negotiating for a long time with Winterland. I actually went to them and said, hey, I've been accidentally bootlegging your shirts for a while, but, I'd like to pay you some money for what I've done and get some licenses. Yeah, they weren't, they didn't like that. Yeah, they were, but then other people were like, oh, very cool. Yeah, we're glad to give you a license, and you're going to give me some money too? Cool.
Huh.
But, and then, after I'd been in the industry for a while, the more people it's easier to get licenses. And then I think by the time I quit, Live Nation decided to own all the licenses, and it became boring. I remember one of their things saying, well, your shirts don't look like the other company's shirts. We need like brand recognition. And I'm like, well, what? That's my
God.
thing is
That's a
making.
terminology.
Yeah,
I guess
it-
once you hear that, it's like, oh,
That's because they were playing it safe.
Yeah, and that's how it is corporate. So, so. But a lot of people I dealt with in the licensing world were really cool. I dealt with the company Antil. They were really good.
yeah.
They owned like David Bowie and Iggy and Rolling Stones and a few other people back in the day. So they were really great to work with.
You ever did a Stone shirt?
They understood the aesthetic.
Did you ever do a Stone shirt?
A Stone shirt?
Yeah.
Not when we were doing those old ones. We did Keith Richard, that famous sign.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
We
That's right.
we did that one. We did a Brian Jones one and we did a Mick one, but I didn't do actually one of the whole band.
Right.
But Glamhead, I did.
Oh, Glamhead was
millions. Yeah, because I had the
Millions.
license and, you know,
Nice.
yeah.
So there's another like rumor, right, that the licensing, you didn't get certain licensing, and then you were forced to like destroy screens, right? That's
Yeah, that's you know,
Yeah.
from the original as we started out, it was
Yeah.
literally bootleggers.
Right.
So, you know, we had to stop doing Jimi Hendrix, which was a great shirt, and then Winterland came out with one like that the print is like yay big, like I think 12 by 18.
Yeah.
And, you know, for them it's not a bad looking shirt, but it just had nothing. It just didn't even resemble ours, you
Right.
know. And, you know, that's what I was trying to sell them on is, look, I'll pay you a big license fee. I won't compete directly with yours because mine are different.
Right.
And, you know,
So-
you obviously can't do this technique.
Yeah. So it seems to me like your most struggle was sort of like the office struggle, but the design was the easy part.
Yeah, I guess so. Because most of the stuff, you know,
The manufacturing wasn't so bad. It was all this struggle with the industry, the man.
yeah,
Let's call
pretty
him
much.
man.
Yeah, because, you know, sometimes, you know, because I would say everyone I made a shirt for, I had an appreciation for. They might not have been my favorite band, author, or whatever, but I appreciated, and I always did research, you
Was
know.
there anybody you wouldn't do?
Yeah, and most probably lots of people. Can't think of any.
Grateful Dead.
Most probably, you know, I wouldn't have done it
But
back then.
did you do a Grateful Dead?
I didn't, no, but I most probably, you know.
What about Poison?
I would have quit.
Did you do Poison? I mean, you're
I
LA
did a Glamhead Poison.
Oh, you did a Glamhead Poison.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
just a little
that's-
small glitter, you know, it had like,
Mosquito Head.
yeah, so that was Glamhead, but
So
yeah.
you kind of stayed away from the hair metal, right? Well, later on
that-
you went in.
At that stage, you know, I would have done Guns N' Roses, but
That's rock
by
and
the
roll.
time they were famous, I couldn't get their license, so
Oh, okay.
Actually,
You know-
we used to see them regularly before they were famous,
yeah,
like locally.
yeah.
'Cause
And I
you
had
were-
a weird connection, like Beth, my ex-wife, she was making clothes for Slash's mom. or
Mom,
something
who
like
made
that.
clothes.
Yeah, so she was. It's
Now,
hard to make.
Robert, are you a musician?
No, if I was, I would have
So
done this.
you didn't come to L.A. How did you get to L.A.? Okay, it was following a girl. We know.
Yeah, no, Bleecker Bob. You know, he opened a store here.
Falling
Oh, so
off.
you knew him from New York?
Yeah, so I worked in the store in New York. And
Oh, so you're
lived
just
in
hanging out in New York
Yeah, and then, you know, he
in the
just didn't want to,
1980s.
he wanted me to do the back merch part in the store in LA. He didn't want to do it.
So when did you first come to New York?
81, I think. Yeah.
Oh, 81. Yeah, well, Peekaboo was pretty well established.
Yeah, he was kind of like, famous, infamous, you know.
We actually both worked there
Yeah,
and survived.
it was a good place to work in a way. Yeah.
Bob was great.
Well, he's a very famous. He was very well known in the flea market.
Rich obviously has reservations here.
Well,
Gotta beef with it.
he was very well known in the flea market because he was a big vintage lover.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he loved antiques.
And I'm
and
sure
he
he
would always
pissed off lots of people.
Yeah.
He would, because he did business with
Rich.
Japan, and he would approach me about denim and about vintage and the pricing and this and that. And believe it or not, I mean, I appreciate him. I understand the struggles of business in New York City. But once I was stuck on the Williamsburg Bridge for like 2 hours because there was a car wreck on the base of the bridge, and all these cars got stuck. And who was in front of me but Bleecker Bob and his girlfriend at the time. So if please understand my pain of being stuck on the Williamsburg Bridge for 2 hours with Bleecker Bob. But he was a good guy because it takes a tough guy to make business in this city, believe me.
Well, he had good people at the store too. He had like a lot of great people working there. But you know, I mean, Bob was a bit of a nightmare, but I liked him. I liked the guy. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a nice guy inside. It's just like
So
he was,
Bleecker Bob's is the grain, the seed of Mosquito Head.
Yeah, I would say, and there's like, you know, a philosophical thing. Like all the people who worked in there was a lot of people from like almost pre-punk rock days, like, you know, Dictators, Tough Darts.
Well, that's how he.
But
became
everyone had
famous.
that. They had that kind of philosophy, and even though a lot of the records he sold were more older, collectible, there was
Well, he
still
became famous.
always an appreciation for music. or
I met Bernie
counterculture
Getz in
music.
there.
Yeah.
Bernard Getz, yeah, oh my God.
I wouldn't make a shirt of him.
Oh, it's like
Maybe.
obviously, you know, one of my biggest. I'm a fandom, and I'm a Cramps freak. I have a gigantic collection, but obviously, one of my favorite. I just want to get into this is the Cramps one. This is my personal favorite, and there are maybe how many? Not different variety colorizations, Richard. I mean, there's about 10. Well,
Yeah, I think so.
Wasn't there a
About
purpley
10?
one?
Whoa.
Like it wasn't planned. You know.
No,
It's,
it was haphazard.
but wait, was it ordered? Like I want the green flames and the orange.
no, people don't. You know, generally, colors usually stayed within, you know, kind of range. Like they weren't meant to change that much, but you know, sometimes
we'd
we'd
get
run
lazy
out.
and forget to change the ink.
Yeah, yeah, you know, or when you first put the ink in, because sometimes we'd mix the orange in the screen, so it'd be like red and yellow. And so, like, I think at the first part of the run, you would have, like, it'd be a split. It'd be, like, red in the front and yellow towards the sides. Yeah,
Let's just do a trade.
yeah, I think
No,
Yeah,
not these. No.
Yeah,
Ivy's too close to my heart. I'm never going to give her up. And this is
Yeah.
Lux, poor Lux. He passed
yeah,
about 10 years ago.
And Robert used to have a haircut just
Knox,
like
he
Nick
passed
Knox.
yeah.
No way.
Yeah, I was a Nick Knox lookalike, I think. Yeah.
I'll never give these up. I have a mass. One day I'll do a live with my collection. But
Robert, didn't they used to drink downstairs from the last workshop?
The 3 clubs before it became a hipster bar. Yeah. It was
so
like
you guys got to meet Lux and Ivy from the whole LA scene.
I can't say I knew them, but you know, it's
Well,
like
you knew Candy.
Oh,
Yeah,
Candy
that's true.
Mamar, sure.
Yeah,
One of their bass players.
But I do remember going into the bar as they were leaving,
Yeah.
like saying something
They-
like, "Oh, there goes the neighborhood."
Well, that's great. I mean, there's so many great stories.
Robert, let me ask you a quick question.
Yeah.
One of the guys that was bleaching, he used to take a brush and paint images on the back. You remember this?
Did I know about it?
Yeah, it's like
What was it like? Sex, Robert?
Yeah.
he was out back, you know, doing the stack of T-shirts.
No, but we did
and-
have some sort of image that would bleach through a screen.
Well, like we did the peace one, which
Yeah, there was
but
piece one, there was an anarchy one, there was
I
a
got the picture in the
skull.
car.
But somebody there did a really great skull thing or something on the back of a few of them that could be worth even more because it's more than just the bleach out. You know, it's like
Yeah,
somebody's
that I
actual art.
don't know about that.
Yeah.
Wow. So everybody out there, look on the back of your
Yeah,
mosquito hut.
I
There's a
fired
skull.
that guy.
There's a skull. Take a picture of it. We want to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had thought of trying to do that, but it was just impossible to get
Yeah.
like an image because the bleach crept. So you could have a good image, and you know, by the time it was washed and cleaned and dried, it was just a big blob.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question. I was wondering if there was any like any design that you guys wanted to make and never got around to it. If there was any, or you guys pretty much.
Oh, hundreds. You know.
Yeah, I think that's. I've always wondered like.
I always wanted to do a Beastie Boys one. I never know why I didn't get around to that.
Wow, that would.
You know, because they were massive at that time. I think maybe it was a licensing thing by the time. Yeah, I don't know. That I'd have.
We're gonna make that happen.
Yeah, that
All
would
right?
have been something I'd have been proud of.
We're gonna make a Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people always ask like why it's so much music and movie and like pop culture stuff and everyone. I mean, if you think back to the years that you guys were really started the company, I mean, hip hop wasn't everyone because everyone is a big rap tee collector now. It's rap.
Right.
tees.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, how come there's no you know?
We did a Run DMC. We did a Run DMC mosquito head shirt.
I've never seen that.
I've never seen that before.
Me
Yeah.
neither.
Yeah, well, that's most probably why we didn't do more. 'Cause
Yeah.
most probably our client base didn't
Yeah.
really. You know, we did sell other things. Like I did a lot, like a Malcolm X, and
That I remember.
yeah, I did it, and I had licenses for those Malcolm X and yeah, Dr. Seuss. Yeah,
You did a Martin Luther
I ended up
King one,
losing
too.
Dr. Seuss license because someone else bought it.
People search for that Dr. Seuss one pretty frequently. That's
Really?
one that everybody wants to get the
Yeah.
Dr. Seuss one. Yeah. That's
Yeah, to be honest, that I kind of enjoyed doing that one because I also everyone knows the kid's books, but I did like a lot of research on him and his, counterculture things. I always just immersed myself into a subject matter just for the fun of it.
Yeah, it shows.
Yeah.
Every piece.
But yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I think the notable, like, we're going to say grails are like Martin, Fire Marshal Bill,
Yeah.
JFK and Jackie, Andy Warhol, right? Like, these are the ones that...
These are the ones, yeah.
that
The Fear and
are
Loathing,
just
everyone.
Fear and Loathing, yeah.
Fear and Loathing.
Yeah, and the fact that we can put a Dr. Seuss in between William Burroughs and Fear and Loathing, and our customers would be like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Actually, one of my favorites was the polyester suit, and and the way you had to explain that.
Oh, the Mapplethorpe, yeah. Yeah, it was just like
It's like some
a
little
large
woman came up
penis.
to the booth, and you go, "That's a Mapplethorpe, ma'am."
Yeah, oh yeah, she came out of the boutique show, little old lady from, I know, some little just ma and pa store. And she couldn't, because it was all weird psychedelic colors.
Yeah.
And it was just like a massive penis that big hanging out of her pants. It was kind of hard to focus on. And she's like, what is that? And the guy who was working for me said, oh, it's a Mapplethorpe. Richard Mapplethorpe. And she's like, what's a Mapplethorpe? Isn't it an animal? And he was like, no, ma'am, it's a penis. It was just hilarious.
So I could imagine that wasn't one that, like, you sold a whole bunch of those.
I'd maybe guess about 30.
Wow.
So that's a holy grail.
So yeah.
That's a grail.
I know a lot of people always wondered, like, why for the Fear and Loathing, there's the back hit on the Fear and Loathing, but a lot of the other mosquito heads don't have a front and back print. We're wondering why for that one, like.
I have no idea. I designed that shirt. I just figured at the time, maybe when I printed that, we were doing a lot more colors than other shirts. I figured, what's the harm in putting like a one color on the back or something?
Yeah, one color. One color.
Oh, noticing that like at that point that a lot of our shirts, more was getting bleached out of the back. So, we could put some aside that were just bleached on the back more than we liked. Just
Okay,
to
that
have
makes
something
sense.
else printed on it. But to be honest, I don't remember a philosophy behind it.
It was that human adrenal gland you were doing, wasn't that it?
Yeah.
So when was the last time you, like, hit a screen?
2010 most probably.
Okay.
I always,
All right.
So you fall
I didn't
back?
do production runs in my, last 15 years, but I always enjoyed, doing the samples and, messing around with color or even ink techniques, using weird inks, discharge inks, other kind of like burnout inks, all kinds of inks. I was always investigating. There's a million different types of inks out there that will do different things.
It used to just be NASDAR, and it wasn't Delta.
Yeah, but yeah, from that on, and to be honest, after the full massive print stopped selling, then I actually started taking a few classes in screen printing or, looking into it.
Yeah, it's like the times kind of like changed, right? Everyone's starting to do digital.
Yeah,
computer.
yeah.
It was
Yeah, and
like
I
that.
just, wanted to, have more strings to my bow. Especially learning ink technology as well, because I really hated plastisol, especially if you wanted to do a larger print. So, I really wanted to learn how to use discharge inks and water-based inks and, things like that.
Were there ever any issues like using the bleach? Did any of the like customers ever have an issue with it or like?
They were fully washed, like, so
Yeah.
the bleach is removed. So it's something, a lot of people use in their own home wash anyway.
Right.
But the one thing I will say, and this is why most probably the company took off and Richard got his job, was I was allergic to it. So I got these massive scabs up
You
my
never
nose.
told me that.
Yeah, and it's like, that never happened to anyone else. And I'd wear gloves and it would just, yeah. So
You just had that reaction.
yeah. And so then I'm like,
I'm gonna need
oh,
a raise.
I'm gonna
yeah, I'm gonna have to hire someone to do this. But that was good because it forced us, to kind of maybe we had to make enough money to support someone else.
Yeah, I actually never had any problem with the bleaching. I don't know why.
No one else had
No
that.
one did, right?
And I kind of always mention it to people. Hey, if you do, we'll move you somewhere else.
Yeah.
But no one else did.
That's funny.
Did you guys ever have like any notable celebrity clients that would come and buy your stuff?
Well, yeah, we had I know Jamie Foxx, he wasn't famous at the time, but when we made, what was it, the Wonder?
Yeah, one.
The Wonder shirt, he came by, you know,
Yeah.
that was his first show, I guess.
Yeah.
So he was just, you know, basically a kid. So he was really like, A, fairly humble, and B, just like impressed that someone would make this shirt of him.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, he
another
was
one
really
that
a
everyone
nice
goes
guy.
by.
That was kind of, also we had, what was it? We made like a whole bunch of reggae line, and we were making like a Haile Selassie shirt, and we had like Prince Solomon Selassie, his grandson, come by the workshop.
Whoa.
That was kind of nuts, because
That's amazing.
Just put him
didn't
on
know
the
whether to believe him or not. He had a very upper class English accent, and apparently was living in Buckingham Palace at the time. But it was like visiting the States, and it was like just one of those things you don't know really what to say to the guy.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, wow.
How's that weather?
I remember.
Yeah. What do you discuss?
Also, Courtney Love owes me $20.
Oh yeah.
Good luck on getting that money
Wow.
back.
And you know, in like the glam head stages, we made shirts for the Viper Room. So we also did some like shirts for Johnny Depp when he'd like, you know, like for movie parties and things like that.
Yeah.
And we made actually shirts for when he did Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas for his after party.
So were there any like special like one-offs that you made just for like a client, or everything's kind of made?
Yeah, not really.
Okay.
No. Yeah, I don't
like-
think so.
Did you have a customer that would come in and say, "All right, I want this," and you made it for them specifically?
You know, there's a few bands, you know, like local bands of people that I might have done, but nothing, you know.
Wow, that's cool.
I made a lot of shirts for like Elvis, you know, kind of Mexican Elvis, you know.
Yep.
He was kind of like spoof kind of, he was good, yeah.
Wow,
So I
that's
made
great.
specials. I'd go, you know, he was a really good guy and a friend, so I'd go the extra mile to maybe design his shirts.
You
So
guys
that's the
make
rarest
everything
mosquito head everyone is the
Yeah.
Mexican Elvis. Okay, go find it.
L7? Rob, did you guys make L7 shirts? Because they were friends of like.
Yeah, I think we might have, but we didn't sell them. We just made them for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy Grail.
And there was a lot of bands like L7 at that time who, you know, I guess from the majority of the
Hey, look.
Miracle Workers in that era who we made shirts for.
Right.
I made some for Jane's
this?
Addiction at the beginning, I think. That was before.
What's that one? What you got there? Wall of Voodoo?
Oh, Wall of Voodoo. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I didn't
Ray
make
gave
it
it
for them.
to me.
Yeah.
Oh, so you know what? There's another question. So I have a baby mosquito head. My son has a mosquito head.
Hmm?
Is this real or fake?
Like my business partner, Paul, he did have kids back then, and I know he wanted to make kids shirts, but I thought we didn't really make the mosquito head
It
style.
has like a tag on it. No, it's just a skull. So it's just a skull and it had like a little tag, mosquito head tag on it. It's not like a bleached one.
I don't remember whether we did or not. He might have. It might be possible.
I'm fighting the seller. Whoever sold me that, I'm fighting you.
Yeah, you send me a picture of it, and I can just tell.
Cool, yeah.
Because, you know, I think he handled all the designs for that. You know, at the time I was like, kids,
College gonna go crazy now.
Yeah, so. Yeah, I can tell by looking at it. I'll know whether it's ours or someone else's.
I'll definitely send you a picture.
Yeah.
I think this
But
is a question for really both of you guys. If your personal taste, your personal preference, out of the shirts that you guys made, if there was a few offhand that you liked the best, how they came out, print-wise, design-wise, everything, if there was like a top one or two or a couple that you really liked, what were they?
I would say I liked the David Bowie one was really, I'm a David Bowie fan. That guy managed to stay creative, you know, through like a massively long career, you know, and so and I also like the way that one came out. I like that Ziggy stage Bowie. It was very, you know, just visually flamboyant, you know, but cool.
Those are like the classic mosquito. Like if you
And
just,
that one's got like a good color tone. It's like purple and
Yep.
bluish. Yeah.
I think my favorite is it's not too kosher these days. Is the original Elvis one?
Oh yeah, with the
But
Rebel
aesthetically,
flag.
it's
Yeah.
perfect.
you have to kind of forgive me. I'm from England, so I didn't really realize
Yeah.
or appreciate.
And
You know, in
there's,
England,
like,
rebel flag means something completely different than here. Well, obviously, I guess it means the same, but we didn't
Yeah.
realize it at the time. I didn't realize until I really started driving around down south here.
That's kind of the coolest thing about a controversial piece too. You know, it's like you weren't going out of your way to
But
And the thing is,
everybody.
Elvis most probably would have worn it himself.
Right.
You know, I'm
He
not
would
saying
have,
that's a
yeah.
good thing, but you know,
but
so
there's
it's
also like little subtleties because a lot of the prints are like collages, and like the
yeah,
Maryland has the pills.
yeah. So we had you know, we weren't a commercial. We had like a counterculture view of Marilyn
Those
Monroe.
little touches.
Yeah,
Yeah, we have one of the Marylands here, and that pill. I think a
Yeah.
lot of people miss this because there is so much going on the shirt.
Oh, it's like a whole life story.
Yeah, that if you
Yeah.
actually look around the graphic,
yeah, and you know, those kind of elements. I'm sure if people actually really looked into it, they might not have bought the shirt. But you know,
Yes.
to me,
Thank you.
that's what made it kind of.
That's what's great.
Yeah, yeah,
there's a lot going on some of these. There we go.
yeah. There's
top.
definitely no brand recognition, you know, in that
Yeah,
design.
yeah.
It's just, you know, Maryland and, you know.
And I think this is, a lot of people when they see that,
First question.
with the pill bottle, death in a bottle. I think a lot of people kind of go crazy when they see that.
It's funny because when I look at those designs now, because I hardly ever see them, I just think, man, what a shitty designer I went with.
I read that comment.
Yeah.
We're chilling. We in Mole, we vibing right now. We're about to have a drink. Enjoy
Yeah,
some
so-
tequila.
Oh, yeah,
I seen a
Bob
lot
Dylan.
of-
Yeah, Bob Dylan was a really good shirt.
Yeah,
that
Bob
was
Dylan.
that was a one-color one. I like that.
Which one?
Yeah,
Bob Dylan. It was just him, like, early days.
yeah.
You know, it was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was the first one that you guys ever made? A lot of people were asking in the comments.
The first bleach shirt
First
I
one.
did, I think it was Jesus and Mary Chain.
Nice.
Ooh.
Psycho Candy. Didn't have a picture of the
Psycho
band. It was just, Psycho Candy.
That was a great one too. It was red and black. It was
Yeah.
that was a great shirt. I forgot about that one.
And then maybe Bauhaus. I think it kind of started out maybe a little gothy. That was what was trending when I was first doing it.
The Frankenstein was great too. I know DeVita had at least 3 of them over the years.
Yeah, I did a Bela Lugosi as well.
Oh, I love
Dracula.
Wolfman.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
there he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Dracula one I lost on an eBay auction, and I'll never take
Yeah.
it myself for it.
I did a lot of the Rocky
Actually,
Horror
that's-
Show too.
That's in 2 movies because Debbie wore it in 2 different movies when we were doing extra work for extra money.
Yeah,
That's funny.
yeah.
Yeah, some of the notable ones I feel like in movies are what's that? The movie with the fat kids? He's wearing like a
Oh, the one they went to camp or
Heavyweights. Yeah, it's like a
Weights.
movie. It's like a comedy. He's wearing like a Bob Marley.
Keenan Thompson was wearing it.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, I mean in one of the Ace Venturas in the elevator scene, someone's wearing a Marilyn Monroe in the elevator when he gets on the elevator to go up. I think, yeah.
And in The Doors, the movie The Doors with Val Kilmer, there's someone
Right.
wearing a mosquito head shirt.
Yeah, that seems kind of anachronistic. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Two on full. Yeah, the comments are going crazy. Yeah,
Yeah. So.
we definitely need to find that catalog. I'm going to stay on you about that catalog.
I think Misfits sold a lot too. Anyone ever see a Misfits one? It was like a puss head drawing.
Yeah,
Just a guy holding the eyeball,
yeah.
big skull. That
Red
one
and
we sold
black.
a lot of. Yeah.
Black.
Black. I feel like a lot of your, a lot of the customers, a lot of your clients, red, black, red. That's like what they weren't going too. Some of them weren't going too crazy.
Yeah, as I said, when initially we started, we were kind of like somewhat gothy.
Right.
You know, that was the nature of the time. But
Was
know,
anyone trying to have you ever seen other people or other brands kind of ripping as soon as you guys became popular, ripping your design off?
Absolutely. I had a friend who worked in Bleecker Bob, Joe Pepe. He started a company instantly, ripping us off. Yeah. He actually bought one from me, photocopied it on a machine, and made a screen from that.
my
I'm like,
God.
Joey, come on.
Well, that's how Don Rock used to
Are
do
you
it.
here, Joey?
Yeah,
we were.
Joey.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Joey,
he
say
was
hello.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was spraying. Yeah, his
Spraying,
bleach
yeah.
sheets. Yeah, and there was the guy from Chicago, Liberties. Even though I sold to him a lot, he would always knock my shirts off now and again.
Well, that's how you know you made it, right? When they
Yeah.
start faking you.
Yeah, but it was really hard for people to bleach. It was like it was a process, It wasn't like easy money.
Yeah.
So most people you know, they might steal the design, but doing that, they were just like, screw that.
That was the hard part. That's probably what
Yeah.
makes them valuable is the fact that, the integrity is lost a little bit in the fiber, so they don't stick around forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, it's just a look, you know.
The total look, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think there was a lot of the it was like some people, for me, because I haven't, Rich here has been doing all the t-shirts for so many years. I would say I got into it 8 or 9 years ago, and mosquito heads in terms of, 8 or 9 years ago, you could pretty much get any shirt for, $300, $400 is a lot of money when I started.
Mhm.
That was at the top,
Right.
And mosquito heads were the first shirts that really went up to those prices that I saw in my time. So
Right.
$1,000 range.
yeah,
Yeah.
first ones to really hit $1,000, and I always wonder, like, what are your thoughts on that? When did you guys notice my shirts that I made 20 years ago were selling for $800, $900? Like,
Yeah, I
when
guess
did
I
you
noticed
that, and how did
about-
you feel about that?
12 years ago, it's a pat on the back, what can I say?
Yeah.
Would I be happy with some of that money now? Sure, but it's like, as an artist, when you do something, once you release it, it's the world's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I'm kind
That's a
of,
great way to look at it.
You don't have a
Yeah.
retirement case in the garage?
no, I don't have anything.
Yeah.
And, it's, I guess this day I kind of have to feel a little proud,
You should.
because
Yeah.
they,
Oh, yeah.
at the time, I sold them because they gave people, happiness.
You made a great design, and you gave a bunch of misfits a job. You did good.
Yeah,
Good.
there was a lot. It was,
Listen, we're here
yeah.
how many years later talking about it,
yeah.
I mean, from 86 to now is a good amount of time has passed, and now this is something that hundreds of people are going to tune in over the night to watch, hear your story and hear you guys. So I think that's worth far more than, a couple $100 on T-shirts, I think.
Yeah, and as I said, the price, and people always are, well, why don't you do it again now? And partly the reason they're so expensive is because they're scarce.
Right.
And it would just, I would have to invest a lot of money to be able to get all those licenses and then screens and redo them.
But now you could do
and then
six
suddenly you
instead
make
of 6,000.
100,000, they're not going to sell.
If just do 6 instead of 6,000 and make them a grand,
Yeah.
He's been thinking about this. He's like, I got the
I
technique.
have,
Let's do it.
I have a few
I'll
times
come
actually.
bleach for you.
I've had band shirts from Goodwill that I bought and just bleached out and I haven't said they're mosquito head. I just
Right.
throwing them up online on eBay.
Yeah, that's cool.
So now, what was it? Only T-shirts that you guys were making? Because some people I mentioned some of the button-ups. Was there any other products that you guys were making?
Yeah, when we first started, we had like some girls' leggings and mini skirts and tops. They didn't take off that well, and it just for a few years, everyone we do other bits of clothing, but everyone just seemed to want the T-shirts.
They were bleached too, though.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
And did you almost lose a finger?
Yeah, that's right. It was
That's right.
Richard's wife who basically sewed it back on.
Those are great,
No,
though. I like those.
Yeah, I was like, my workshop was right by their place, and I was working throughout the night because we had limited space, trying to cut fabric at night. And it was just, 3 in the morning, getting kind of tired, and sliced up the end of my finger. Pretty
Yeah, I
much.
like to hear that story. 3 o'clock in the morning, working, hustling,
Yeah,
that's what I'm getting most out of this whole conversation, saying how you ran into kind of hurdles, and it kind of made what Mosquito Head is. It wasn't like thought out. It was just like you ran into a problem and you figured a solution.
Yeah, you
just
do the
made
best
art.
you can. You don't even know it's going to be a solution at the time. It's like, it might not work.
Yeah.
I think that's what people are looking for today. They don't want that mass-produced item.
Right.
Oh,
right.
no,
I
I
think
agree.
that's in the collectible world, especially.
Yeah.
You want to stay as far away from. You really want. It's hard to get. You haven't seen another one, or you haven't seen one for a couple of years. That's what I want. That's where the collectability and the demand.
Yeah.
Really, that's where
Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone asking, we are going to save this. Make sure you save this live, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of people are asking if it's going to be
We
saved.
will.
Yeah, we're going to save this for sure.
When did you guys introduce the mosquito head tag itself?
Yes.
Good question.
I didn't think we didn't at first, just because we were kind of bootlegging and we didn't want to draw attention. But
Yeah.
Also, we couldn't really afford it, you know.
Yeah, that's listen. That's
had it
extra
on the
cost
original
going into
black
production.
tag.
Yeah,
it's
so
an extra tag for no
I think
reason.
we ended up making our own, you
It
know,
was
just
a black
printing on
tag.
massive sheets of fabric and cutting them down, and yeah, we had like a silver one, didn't we?
Yeah.
Black, it was silver on black, and it's stuck on, or how did it wasn't sewn though.
Yeah,
So you
Can't
put it right on
remember.
top of the Hanes.
No, it went under the
It
label.
went underneath, yeah.
Yeah.
Under the label, and then you had a different one later.
yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen the different one.
What I remember once, though, when we were at trade shows, is we did the mosquito head kaleidoscopes. That was awesome. It's like just giveaways at a trade show, but it's just like
Kaleidoscope.
they were just like little tube kaleidoscopes, and then a mosquito head, like it was like
Man.
chrome colored with just mosquito head, black and a mosquito on
Was
it.
that early on?
Yeah, I think you were there
Yeah,
then
trade
because we
show,
gave them away
yeah.
at the show. And I just remember walking around, and it's just like every booth there was people
Yeah.
like it was like we were on the map.
It's funny how they lumped all the kind of punk rockers into one area.
Yeah.
Yes,
At the
it was a
at the
ghetto.
Jab, which was convenient if you're a
ghetto.
buyer.
Ghetto, yes.
You'd have Trip, you'd have like
Yes.
Yeah.
Mosquito Head, and yeah.
But
Yeah.
excuse me, I never saw a label on those. Those washed off. Those came off, right?
Did the label
Yeah.
wash off?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I didn't realize that.
That's
Yeah.
why. That explains
Oh,
for a
that's
lot
why-
of people that
yeah.
wonder
Only if you
where
get a
all
dead
those
stop.
tags are. A lot of people that look to buy mosquito heads have a difficult time authenticating is it a true mosquito head or not. And sometimes it'll have, the mosquito head 1990 ink. So is there a
Right.
reason why some of them have that little trademarking and a lot of others don't?
No, I guess that was just as
Yeah.
as we understood about trademarking our work. When
Yeah.
we first started, we didn't have a clue of anything. We were just there doing it.
Yeah.
I love this.
And,
This is
you know-
music to my ears.
And to be honest, I wasn't even worried about people ripping off designs afterwards. As I said, you're an artist. Once it's out in the public eye,
Well, no one got it right anyways.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know.
exactly.
Go into the
Even the new fakes, you
Yeah.
can tell, they're trying a little too hard and it's not coming out right.
Yeah. We'll show some of the tags too because
Let's
a
have
lot
a
of
look.
Oh, there you go. Cool.
Yeah, that one's
Clear it
mine.
up.
I can just tell from the hair on that one and the bleaching.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can tell.
Yeah, that one's mine.
So he only used Stedman and Haynes heavyweight. That's it.
Yeah, I think Haynes bought Stedman or something like that. There was a connection.
And now it's another one, another tag.
Yeah, yeah. I know maybe in my final years, I think we did have a run of getting our own shirts made that were cheaper. And
Oh,
just
wow.
that way we could choose the dye stuff and make sure.
And then this one, there's a lot of them on this one. This is
Yeah, that would be the
Yeah.
most popular would be
yeah,
that.
the 100% cotton Hanes.
Hold on, let me
The
just
labels are very important to collectors because that's the only way
Well,
we
it
can
signifies
judge.
what era.
Correct.
Right, right.
So
And you-
Like also the 70s, you had more of a wider thing here in the cap sleeve, and
Yeah.
usually the labels were much
Cotton.
smaller.
a bit of
And I had no idea anyone would be collecting these things back then. Right.
but so it was only those labels, right? There was nothing else.
Were those the only labels?
Yeah, let's clear that
Yeah, as
up
I
for
said,
a
we
while.
had stick-in labels that we just put on over the top of those or under those. It just said, mosquito head.
Mosquito head. But it was just the one black one. That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then later we did have labels sewn in.
Yeah.
I actually have it's not bleached, but it's a massive print. It's Ian Curtis from Joy Division. That's the only shirt I have left that has a mosquito head label sewn in.
Still in there, yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Damn,
Wow.
that's
When
good.
did you do that one? I don't remember it.
That would be later stage. That would be like 93, 94.
93, 94. Was there any shirt that you guys had a difficult time moving? Like, oh man, this shirt was stuck with a bunch of them.
There's a lot like that because usually we do an initial print run. I think we figured it out like 75 shirts. And
Yeah, you
if
got
it
your
sold, we'd go through them fast and we could easily print it. And if it didn't sell, usually we'd sell at least half that.
Wow.
And, the rest we'd end up just giving away or sample sale. But yeah, I never did any massive runs of anything that just didn't move.
Yeah.
I think always our first run was around 75 shirts.
Okay, yeah. So everything.
Oh, so that's
All
that's a
those-
number at
all
least,
those-
yeah, 75.
Yeah, and then, obviously something maybe Bob Marley, but,
Yeah.
once, it established itself, we'd keep in stock a few hundred. But most of the stuff, yeah, we'd only plan on it lasting, being in stock for like a week or so.
It was
And then,
boutique
you know, we'll
and
turn
magic
over.
shop. That was it.
But we always managed to ship to people fast. That was important to us.
Was it just the boutique and the magic show?
In the beginning, then we did like shows in Germany. And
Where was I?
yeah, I don't know.
You were gone by
you,
then.
you weren't around then, yeah.
No, I was probably here.
So,
Yeah.
how did they? How many units do you think they shipped to Europe?
Oh, we did a lot, especially like we do in Germany and London show. And we sold a lot to Japan too. I didn't do a show there. I had someone rep
interesting.
me there, and there was other companies that resold my stuff there. But yeah, we sold a lot to
So
Japan.
they could find it in Europe and Japan.
Big in
the red.
Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah, they knew what they were doing even back then. You know, they were buying all
Yeah.
the good stuff.
And it's almost not really like we knew what we were doing. It's just
Yeah.
people came to us and kind of asked it for it. You know,
Yeah.
hey, can you send this to Japan? I'm like, sure.
Yeah, I'm saying they knew what they were
Yeah,
doing. They seen
yeah,
a
yeah.
good show, and they were like, yeah, we need a lot of those. Yeah, and that was before, like, vintage was even a thing. It was like, they just knew it was cool enough to buy it now and rock it now. They didn't see, like, oh, it's going to have value later on, where kind of we are in this stage of people only buy stuff or they collect stuff that they think is going to appreciate the value.
Yeah.
It was very of the day, the mosquito head look.
Yeah.
In the late 80s, it's like it was because it went from like, you know, a couple to everywhere. Like you said, St. Mark's, every store you'd see mosquito
Yeah.
head.
That would be a bit of a problem because, you know, it was a very kind of unique look. So stores didn't want other stores in the same town selling it. That would be
Right.
kind of,
Yeah.
that was always kind of a hassle dealing with that because I would
Well,
try and, you know, curate it so that there would be stores next to each other, but I'd be like, well, you can't have the whole
Right,
town
everything
to
has
yourself.
to be like spread out by proximity, so it's not.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah.
But it seemed like every town had a hip street that would be the place they'd want to sell them.
Right.
That makes sense. Were there
Yeah.
any artists or brands of the time that you kind of said like, oh, this is a great clothing brand, or like I'm inspired by this artist or this designer? Like, were there any people that had an influence on like your work or your designs?
I would guess so.
Roman.
Yeah, I would, yeah, because the good thing, like, because I came from England and they were making big T-shirts, big prints way before anyone in America was. So that was something that's kind of, you know, and there was like about 10 companies there doing that. It was kind of a norm. But here, you couldn't even buy a carousel machine that would fit big screens on it.
No, you had to make those pallets.
Yeah, that's why we had to do hand prints
Well,
at first.
Well, you had Michael Roman, but he only produced a few.
Yeah, no, Mike Roman, I bought a lot of his shirts when I worked for Big Bob.
His stuff was
You
great.
know, it's hard to say that he was an influence because he was, but he was like a friend. So,
Yeah,
you know, and even like Don Rock from Terror, you know, I loved his stuff too.
Terror was great. I don't know why he's not doing it now. This is a perfect political.
Terror T-shirt.
I think he is.
Very,
I think
very,
he
very,
is.
very well
I
known.
used to print for him too.
Yeah, in fact, he was the last live person I saw out socially live.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I lived in his loft and printed for him for a little while.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little more about them, the Terror T-shirts?
They were just these political shirts that were hilarious, and the guy that produced them was really. I have a catalog. I can send it to you.
And they had a very distinct look. It was, I guess you could call it harsh, but it was very, yeah, it had like, you know, a similar kind of,
I had a dark sense of humor.
yeah, and you know, it was like cut and paste, you know.
But we were
It
doing
wasn't
the
made
show-
to look professional.
We were
you
doing
know.
those Javits Center shows a few years before he came, and then
Yeah.
and then he came on the scene, and I remember being, you know, like, wow, those are great, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember, you know, other things, later date. I remember I had an early Shepherd Ferry shirt with, you know, Jimi Hendrix, you know.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I had the first one.
Kind of Are You Experience, but it was like just okay.
That's
at
the
the
first
bottom.
two.
It was Andreas, Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, right.
Yeah. That was a terribly made shirt. It had like 20 layers of plastisol.
Oh yeah.
I think I kind of kept it. I didn't wear it because it was just so thick.
Yeah.
And then one day I think someone washed it and the plastisol just, it was literally, yeah, quarter inch thick of plastisol.
I liked a lot of the what do you call it? Dennis. Was it Dennis from East Coast Ghost?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he did like punk rock stuff.
He did,
Yeah.
but
Was it Philadelphia?
yeah, it was Philly, South Street.
You great stuff.
Yeah, it was just, it was like all the stuff you'd find at Trash and Vaudeville. But, it wasn't unique or anything like Mosquito Head,
But
but
it was dynamic designs.
yeah, he chose the
You know.
photos well. He chose the
Yes.
picture well. He came in the bar one night. He still has that W.C. Fields red nose.
Oh
he's,
yeah.
A bit of
He was like a punk rocker with that
Philadelphia punk rock.
Great guy, but
Love him.
yeah.
I have one question I have to ask, just because it's a shirt that's taken me probably longer to put in my personal collection than any other shirt. I've actively
He was
searched
a
for
very
it.
big
Mhm.
collector.
The JFK mosquito head.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just been one that every time it pops up, it's $1,000 plus. And this
Sorry.
is over the last couple of years, not just since the market's gone up, And for me, this is the one shirt that I've actively searched for the longest. Were there a lot of these made? Was it an issue, putting JFK's face on a shirt this big for everyone to see? Like, tell me a little bit more about this one specifically.
To be honest, it's weird. I guess, maybe in the 80s, 90s, JFK kind of symbolized, somewhat of
Conspiracy.
a better society. He was like
Correct.
an anti-Reagan, Ron Reagan kind of,
Yeah.
And it was just, I guess the cynical way he was killed and his brother was killed, and Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, it was just,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it was just, there were so many questions there. It's so much conspiracy, and it's on a presidential level, too. You're at the highest level. So it just screamed like controversy.
Yeah, and it is kind of somewhat reverential, somewhat tongue-in-cheek. It's but I don't think we made a lot. I don't think it was one of those ones that people were huge. I think people were kind of, buying Bob Marley and other things and saying, well, I'll take one of those.
Right.
I have a quick question. Did you actually ever do the same artist twice but different images? You never did you?
That's a great question.
Yeah, Bob Marley. We had like about, I think, 8 different Bob Marley shirts.
Right. 8?
Yeah.
No. I mean, of the Bleach.
Oh yeah. I think we had like bleach-wise. I think we had like 5.
Yeah, but I printed those. I only remember the one
Well,
it had
after
the
you
labels
left,
up
Richard,
here.
more things happened. We designed more shirts.
The
No,
world
but
went
that
on.
was there when I was around. So
What are we gonna do? Richard's left. We've got 4 designs.
Yeah, and then there is that James Dean, which is just the big black and white face, and then there's another one where it's a little bit more of his body also, and that was in like a black, green, and it's like a tealish, little red.
Yeah.
that
And
one.
I think it said "Live Fast" or something in tiny text in the
I
background.
don't remember any of these. That's weird.
Yeah. To be honest, that second James Dean I'd completely forgotten about.
Complete.
Yeah.
You know, it was a great one. Was the Susie with the
Yeah.
red border.
Yes.
The one with the red border and the great. That was a great shirt.
Let me see.
Yeah, and I did another one later, but that kind of goth thing had stopped selling, which
This
was most probably a better shirt.
Yes.
Didn't sell.
Yeah, I just got rid of that one. I had that one.
Yeah.
It was great. That big border around. I mean,
Yeah.
the big face with the border around it, and then the design throughout the border. Like that was a really good one.
Yeah, I would say that design I kind of maybe, is a bit influenced by Michael Roman stuff. His would frequently have a border and this
Border, yeah. And
subject in the matter.
there's
Roman was terrible.
small different color
Michael Roman
variations
was
in
just
the
Michael
Martin
Roman.
Luther King
Did
Jr.
you ever
ones.
see
Yeah.
Like there's like
You know the
red, white, and blue one, really. Red, white, blue, and black, and then
with the
there's like
skulls on
almost
it?
teal and
That's
red.
Michael
It's like a
Roman.
And teal and brown. I think
Bandito's
it was meant to be teal and brown, but the reddish, the brown had a kind of very rust component to it. Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
yeah.
sometimes we'd be making shirts for a while and just think, we need to change up this color style a bit.
That's
That's good to know, because a lot of people also like
I'll send you some
with that
proof
one.
images, yeah.
It doesn't really affect one goes for more or less. It's just a matter of which one
You've
is
seen it.
real or not.
It's just
Meanwhile, they're
he made
just
even less
both printed a little bit differently.
Yeah, I think the teal and brown one is the later one, I think. I could be wrong on that.
Okay.
But, I think that's the one I prefer is the teal and brown.
Yeah.
But
I usually don't wear like a lot of like red, white, and blue together. That JFK is an exception.
Yeah.
So every time that red, white, and blue Martin Luther King one comes by, I kind of prefer the other one. I like the other one a little bit better.
Yeah, we don't do a lot of political images per se, but you know, we definitely,
Yeah.
you know, doing something like Martin Luther King was kind of like an honor.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You know.
Oh, a question. Did any of the artists or the family of the artists or the people get really pissed off from a shirt that you did and called you guys up
Oh yeah,
and
that's
threatened to sue you to death?
No, you know, like as I said, the first stage, you know, we were bootlegging. We didn't really sell enough. Later stage, we got licenses. So Martin Luther King, we had a license for, and yeah, most of the later stage people we had licenses for. So you know, we did. As I said, I got in trouble with Winterland when I told them, "Hey, I've been bootlegging your shirts, and you know, I'd like to pay you some money and you know, make amends and maybe get a license." Yeah, they were kind of pissed off. But,
Oh, you pissed off Bill Graham. That's
yeah, but you know, most people, it seemed most people kind of liked what we did.
Yeah.
You know, even though some of the people might have been pissed off about the money, I think they always felt, you know, we've done a good job, and you know, they always kind of, you know, it was easy for me to try and negotiate a license when I did speak to them,
And
except for Winterland.
But was the all over print, was that the whole run of Mosquito Head, the company, from '86 until you know you guys stopped? Was the all over print always in the catalog being printed?
No, they I'd say like 93. I just couldn't get rid of all over prints. It was just like.
So what year you stopped? Like '95 was it? That was.
Yeah, I most probably had a few lingerers. I think I did. Maybe the last one I did was like Rocky Horror Picture Show, because I did them for their fan club. So he would buy some, and it kind of just seemed to fit that, even though as a trend it was dead.
So you could really say that there was only a 5-year period.
Yeah, most probably. Yeah,
Amazing.
89. Yeah, maybe
Amazing.
88. Yeah, but yeah, 5 or 6.
That just goes to show, you know, the shirts weren't gotten rid of. People kept them because they loved them, and there was always a big desire for them. You know,
Yeah.
People are always excited about them, and they kept them, and because it was just a 5-year period. It's amazing. It truly is.
And you have to consider also during that period we didn't sell to any chain stores. They were all
it was all
you know retail through small mom and pop boutiques, or you know less hipster boutiques.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
And we sold a lot of them considering there was no chain stores. And I'd say that's something, you know, Hot Topic and Urban Outfitters changed the landscape somewhat.
Oh, right. So you never really sold to the biggies until later on, but that was it.
Yeah, there weren't biggies. I think the first store I sold to was Merry-Go-Round, which were like East Coast.
Oh,
Do you guys remember them?
No,
Oh,
I don't
sure.
remember that.
But
I think they went out of business in the early 90s or...
and what year did
Yeah.
Glamhead start? I know it was a different kind of girly style, but
I was always corporate. It was still Mosquito Head was the corporate name of the company, but Glam Head, I think it started I think I started doing around 92, but it didn't really take off till maybe 95, 96.
right, yeah.
And
And-
I sold a lot of those, maybe way more of those than Mosquito Head. Because, you know, I'm selling the chains.
That was
So-
my brand, believe me. That was
Yeah.
Glamhead was my brand at the time. It was of the era of the girly look and, you know, the ravers and everything like that. And it didn't come from this aesthetic, but
No, it's, in a way, if you look at the actual artwork, if you
The
were to blow
artwork
it
is
up
very
and put it on a
good.
bleached shirt, it could be similar,
body-
but because it was small and in glitters and,
right.
you know,
The body was different, but it had the same feel, like it was coming from you. You could see it.
yeah, it was very rock and
Beautiful
roll.
colors.
Yeah.
Hey, do we have any questions coming in? Well, let's see if we have any people who are watching. We still have 100 people watching. So, and then we're going to have this in our, what's it called in our area of Instagram?
Just,
The IDTV. So it's always going to be around for anybody to
yeah,
listen
let's save that.
to, all to find out. And the biggest question I think everybody has is, where's your secret stash of 1,000 mosquito head
Rich is dying for
all
this.
over print T-shirts that you're not telling us, and you're telling us that you don't have any because, okay, hey, listen, okay,
Say bye.
we know you got it stashed in a trunk
Keep going
underneath the
on.
Hollywood sign. It's about 10 feet down, over to the left, over by the O, in the mosquito. You know.
Yo, just know I was never gonna ask him if he had teas. Never.
You know,
I was never gonna ask.
I don't. Like, my old
No.
business
I
partner,
wasn't.
he had a box, and I know before he died, his daughter said someone stole it from his garage, which was really pissed off. So I think he had but I bought him out in like 95, so he wasn't part of Glamhead, but he had sentimental value for those. But because of me, I was still in business, and they stopped selling, and it was they almost became a financial drag. It was hard to no one wanted to buy new stuff from me.
Oh,
Yeah. I was like kind of labeled with those. So I don't have any. They serve no, sentimental value for big time in the late 90s for me. They were just a burden.
But every single one now, wherever it is, it's going to be in a collection, and it's going to be saved, and it's going to be preserved.
Yeah.
So that's not an honor that many T-shirts and can be bestowed upon a company. And guess what? We found you, and we found this guy here, who I've known for a very long time, who has a great collection of original goth shirts from the 1980s that he will not sell back to me. But that's a different story. So we're just so happy that we've got here, because we wanted to bring, I wanted to bring knowledge that T-shirts are, yes, listen, there's money involved. Everybody knows that. Everybody's buying because there's speculation. Everybody's buying because they love the designs. But I wanted to bring the people and the person, and we really got to know your story about how you came here and you found
Yeah, this is amazing.
Yeah, and
Can't
I
wait to
certainly
go back and
didn't
watch
start
this.
from the perspective of having, a master's in business, and I'm going to start a T-shirt company and it's going to be successful. It was really very.
That's what shows.
Yeah.
The one that started with a master's of business, it's never going to be designed. Believe me, I have plenty of those shirts. You can't get more than a couple of dollars for them.
Yeah, and yeah.
And that's what ruined the licensed music business. When the big timers came in too big, they ruined it. But that's a different story. But your designs are going to live on because of you, because of people like Richard, because it came from the DIY, because it came from your eyes, your head, your experience. And this is why great shirts are out there. And this is why your shirts are going to be saved and preserved.
And raise a drink to Bleeker Bob.
And I think we had as I said, there's an authenticity. Everyone we hired was kind of counterculture to a degree. Yeah, musicians and
and it was
artists
only
of
a
various
5-year
sorts.
period.
Ne'er-do-wells.
I guess it was it was longer because it took us 2 years to get established, and then so it was like from 86 till. But by the very end, it would be like 9 years.
Do you remember the year you moved from the basement to the bigger space?
Yeah, we only had that. I think we only had that basement. It seemed like a long time at the time.
Yeah.
But I think it was a year, if that.
Because Bill was there.
Yeah.
I remember. I don't know if Rosie was. So.
Yeah, that was, we took off fast. So.
Yeah. And it's funny because
place-
isn't that the last space a famous gym now?
Oh yeah, it's a boxing gym. Yeah,
Boxing
yeah,
gym.
yeah.
I don't wanna
Yeah,
get
I know
caught.
there's Evander Holyfield was there once,
Yeah.
people. But yeah, it's like, many years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone else have any,
I
any
think,
viewers have questions?
Well, I want to know, what are you doing now?
What am I doing now?
You're just hanging out talking about T-shirts all day.
Yeah, no, I've had
I've
had various.
New profession for you. We have a new profession for you, Robert. You're going to be the #1 vintage T-shirt dealer within a year. Knowing your track records with T-shirts, once you get touch something, it's going to really go good.
Yeah.
So what are you doing?
So
What are
I
you
do
up to
like
now?
it. I'm really not much up to anything, especially since this wonderful pandemic that we're all living through.
Hanging out.
So this year I've been doing nothing. Before I've tried various things. I was trying the film industry for a while.
Yeah.
I was working in an area that like rented camera equipment and things. That was really cool. I wish I'd gotten into that when I was 18. That's
Right,
kind
exactly.
of, you know,
Yeah.
has a similar aesthetic. You can
It would have
really,
worked. Yeah, it would have worked. Did you ever get the desire, like when you started to see that there was something there with these all over print mosquito heads? Did you have the desire to go back? I want to do this again. I want to,
it's weird because, you know,
or I
right
just,
from the get-go, I guess, you know, I think someone said before, you know, how did you know that they were selling for a lot of money? I'd have ex-employees calling me up saying, hey, you got any of those old T-shirts?
Oh,
You want to sell them to me for $5?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be like, nah, not really.
It's funny because a lot of the shirts that were just bleached that were a little too messed up, we all wore.
Yeah,
You know, you could probably sell those as well.
yeah,
With my 30-year-old sweat in it, you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
so there's no desire for getting back into the starting up an all over print T-shirt company, because I'll tell you why. Because one of the areas of that drove Mosquito Head price wise was Southeast Asia. I'm sure you know this. That in Thailand and in Indonesia, there's a very big vintage T-shirt market. And what I noticed is that they were the first ones that really drove up the price of Mosquito Head up to the $1,000, you know.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't aware of that, so, yeah.
You heard that, right?
No, I didn't really know that.
Oh, you didn't know this? Well, okay, so we're all learning something. This is just my opinion. Everybody out in T-shirt land, if you know something else, go ahead and, you know, we'll have a conversation. I really thought that they were the first ones that were driving up the price because they loved the all-over print. And even to this day, they still love the all-over print. There's something about it. And also, you know, in Thailand and Indonesia, there's a very big hard rock and punk rock and metal.
Right.
There's a big market in music for hard rock, metal, and punk in Southeast Asia. Something I guess you learn every day, because I guess, you know, they talk English, they know English pretty good.
Yeah.
So they love that music, and they love vintage T-shirts also. And they're the first ones. Now they kind of gotten out of it because they've gotten into other things, but that's why the prices have kind of moderated somewhat.
Right.
But that's one of the main reasons that I believe they're in Southeast Asia getting into T-shirts. So here's something that you learned, you know. Maybe you got to take off to Thailand and start T-shirt companies there. Oh.
Yeah, it's like, you know, because I quit in 2010.
Okay.
And
just,
that was...
Hold on. I got to show you something.
Okay.
Just stay right there. I'm picturing more like...
We're about to go. We're about to go.
I'm picturing more like Colonel Kurtz. You're like up in the mountains printing T-shirts, and you got the tribesmen around, you know, and they're doing your bidding.
So
I'm going to show you. This is what's going on in Southeast Asia today. I'm going to show it real quick.
this is what's going on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was kind of, yeah.
All right. Now,
let's have a look at that again.
What design is that?
Let's have a look at that again.
He said, whose design is that?
Yeah, it's like, I would say it's influenced by me.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know, it's...
Two-sided?
Yeah, but, you know,
it's a mosquito head design.
It's not the regional. It's not the regional.
It's like, it's similar. Yeah, it's like plastisol, isn't it? Doesn't it look
Yeah,
this is
does look like
plastisol, yes. But
Yeah,
this is
definitely.
this I can't show. This is out of Southeast Asia.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
But, you know, I like
this
the
is a
visual of
copy
that.
of
But, you know.
Yeah, but the Ramones one was a bleached one as well.
Yeah,
but
you know,
this is
that's
how
the
they're-
reason.
This is what
I
they're
think-
doing. This is, in other words, the copies are coming.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
if you
They've been coming.
I would say if you feel that one, you know why I did it on bleach shirts. Just having that much plastisol sucks.
Yeah.
Plastisol, listen,
Especially in Southeast Asia.
yes, I agree. 100%. Nobody's going to make it like you. That's why we're trying to push you into making the T-shirts again.
Well, you know,
Can you go to Southeast Asia and start making T-shirts, please?
Yeah. In 2010, when I kind of quit, it was partly, you know, financial meltdown. A lot of my boutiques vanished. And then
Yes.
all the licenses, which he and I developed relationships over a long time, getting Live Nation bought pretty much the whole licensed music.
Yeah,
You
they
know, their
ruined
business
it.
model was,
No.
we're going to sell everything about music except for music.
Yes,
You know,
I
concerts.
totally agree. They ruined it. I got out of new
Yeah.
T-shirts and I got into vintage T-shirts, and it's been a blessing ever since.
Yeah, so basically they booted me out of the license market. They didn't see any value in the stuff I was doing. Even though before Live Nation, you know, people would say, well, even though that shirt doesn't sell, it's a great shirt and it's, you know, it's good for our like resume as such.
But I guarantee you Live Nation is working on reproducing your designs.
Oh,
Because-
they'll screw it up.
Oh, of course they will, but they're going to come. You see, you created a standard in the music T-shirt business. Believe me, I've been selling vintage T-shirts before. You know, I mean, since it started in the early '90s, vintage T-shirts. I mean, even before that, but that's a different story.
Yeah.
But you created a standard, and you were the first T-shirt to really hit. I mean, along with some Iron Maiden shirts.
Yeah.
And
No,
it was
there
really
were good shirts
Southeast Asia that
before,
drove
but
the
yeah.
price.
Yeah.
But today, it's the Americans are really going crazy, but they're going for popular culture. But Mosquito Head still is there, and that's why we were so happy to have you to talk about how.
Definitely thank you for coming and meeting with
Oh,
us.
you're welcome.
Oh,
It's,
thank
you
you
know,
so much, and thank you, Richard, because
Yeah, Richard, I appreciate you too, man.
I've
Because
never
you had
been-
some good input.
I have
Good
never
insight.
paid for a beer when I've ever been to his bars. He's
you go.
treated me like a king.
I used to pay wholesale.
as I said,
He has a great goth T-shirt collection, and I have a nice big stomach because of all that free beer.
right.
Yeah.
You know, Richard is an author too, so he's always tells me about his writing. And we talk T-shirts, and we talked about Mosquito Head, and it's been honestly, Robert and Richard, I've been dreaming of this for a long time to get you guys here to talk about it because we finally get to see the faces behind the T-shirt. I think that's what we're going to call our episode: the faces behind it. Faces
I like
behind
that.
the
Yeah.
T-shirt.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for coming
Yeah.
here. And
Oh,
you
you're
know, if there's any more
welcome.
last questions, Pete?
I'm good. I would just like to say thank you to you guys.
Yeah, I think we've been
Yeah,
on
no,
for a
it's
while.
cool. I'd say to anyone starting out, you just have to like the shit you're doing.
Right.
You have to like the subject matter, and just imagine if you're a big fan of whatever band or whatever you're making a T-shirt, what that person would want.
Love
You
it.
know, put yourself in that position, and it's kind of, even if you're not a designer, if you put yourself as a fan, you'll know what to make.
But
So
and
I'd
so-
like to give kudos to my old business partner Paul. You know, he can't
rest
be
in
here,
peace.
so you know he was an integral part of it as well. So you know, I don't.
what's
You
his
know,
last name? Paul what?
Paul Kaminer.
Paul Canada. Well, listen, Paul, where you are,
Yeah.
we're here, and your T-shirts and your designs are carrying on. So what you helped
Yeah.
create is still here, and will carry on for a long time, and they're going to be in collections. And listen, what determines value is just supply and demand. And Mosquito Head is not just, there's not that many of them. There's a big demand.
Yeah.
There's a big demand because of the designs that really attract people. It's not just people, I mean, some people buy and sell just to try to make money and push the prices up, but the prices have stayed within the $500 to $1,000 range. And if a very good, obviously
Yeah,
a lot of your shirts
nuts.
now, they're not in the best condition, but the ones
No.
that do come in good condition, and
Yeah.
good colors, in good condition, good size, a real extra large, it can definitely break 1,000 to 1,500 easy.
We're about to. We're getting looks from the waitress. So I think we might have to wrap this up.
Okay, so we're going to wrap this up. Thank you
Okay.
so much, Robert.
Okay, and I'm just humbled by you all. I'm really, appreciate
No,
that people
no, because
like
you-
these. It's cool.
You guys were artists, and you created
Yeah.
something, and we're here to help educate the world about you guys. And
Yeah.
and Richard, who
Thanks
helped
again,
create it,
guys.
and Robert, and your partner was Paul.
Yeah.
Well, Paul
Yeah.
and Robert did the design.
Well, Paul and Robert. you
Yeah,
guys,
both of
thank
us.
you so
Yeah,
much.
we
And
did
we're
all
going to
the
have to say
designs,
goodbye
yeah.
to everybody.
Okay.
And Pete, say
Good
goodbye.
being there.
Thank you,
Say
Robert.
bye.
Thank you,
Bye,
Robert.
Pete.
Yeah,
Bye,
good
Pete.
meeting you, Pete. And I don't know who that Richard guy is, but
All right, we're gonna have
I love
We're
you,
gonna have
buddy.
a drink.
He
We're
brings
gonna
the
have a
beer.
drink, and we're gonna
Listen,
send you the
that's
bill.
important.
Okay.
Take care now.
All right.
Hey, wait a
All right,
minute.
guys. Stay well.